In this video, we will learn how to find the x and y-intercept of a line. The x-intercept is the x-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the x-axis. In the provided example, the red line crosses the x-axis in -2. Therefore, the x-intercept is -2. The y-intercept is the y-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the y-axis. The intersection between the red line and the vertical line is -3. Therefore, the y-intercept is -3. Let's analyze a few examples. What are the intercepts of this line? The line crosses the x-axis in +4. Therefore, the x-intercept is +4. The same line crosses the y-axis in -2. The y-intercept is -2. Let's take a look at another example. In this case, the graph of the linear equation crosses the x-axis in +5. Therefore, the x-intercept is 5. The graph also crosses the y-axis, the vertical line, in +1. Therefore, the y-intercept is 1. Let's look at this example. The graph represented by the red line crosses the x-axis in -3. Therefore, the x-intercept is -3. However, when we look at the y-axis, the point of intersection is not a whole number. Notice how the red line passes between 3 and 4. We can approximate that number with 3.5. In this example, the line crosses the x-axis in a point that can be approximated to -3.5. Therefore, the x-intercept is -3.5. The y-intercept is also not a whole number. We can approximate the y-intercept with -1.5. We can also find the x and y-intercept without having any information about the graph. For instance, if you know the equation, to find the x-intercept, let y equal 0, replace y with 0 in the initial equation, and then find x. So let's do this in this example. Replace y with 0. This leads us to 2x plus 3 times 0, which is 0, equals -8. Therefore, 2x is -8. Divide by 2 to isolate x. X is -4. The x-intercept is -4. So to find the x-intercept, set y equals 0 and then solve for x. In a similar way, to find the y-intercept, let x be 0 and then solve for y. In this example, first replace x with 0. This leads us to 5y equals -3 times 0 plus 35. And then solve for y. 5y equals 0 plus 35. 5y equals 35. Divide by 5 on both sides to find y. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Therefore, the y-intercept of the graph is positive 7. We can find both the x and the y-intercept for the same equation. First, let x be 0 to find the y-intercept. This leads us to 2y plus 30 because 5 times x will disappear when x is 0. Divide by 2 to find y. Therefore, the y-intercept is 15. To find the x-intercept, let y be 0 and then solve for x. 5x equals 30, x equals positive 6. Let's solve another problem. Let's find both the x and the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, let y be 0 and solve for x. Replace y with 0 and then isolate x on the left side of the equation. Negative 6x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 6 on both sides. X equals positive 2. Therefore, the x-intercept is positive 2. To find the y-intercept, let x equals 0. Replace x with 0 in the initial equation and then solve for y. Y equals 0 plus 12, therefore y equals 12 is the y-intercept.